Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. And it is Monday. It's April 17th. This will be our chart lesson for today. This was going to be short and sweet. It was all uphill today. Nice uptrend. Uh, we were a little too steep here, kind of leveled out. We got a little break, moved up to a new high, but it's still basically, for all intents and purposes, it was all uphill. It got a little iffy here, but as long as we're bouncing off that trend line, I would have stayed out of this part of it. Really, it didn't look like we were. It really kind of went flat right after this entry here, and after that point, I wouldn't enter any longer because this is just too much congestion, very little volatility. I mean, this is from noon time basically. This is over an hour in here, and I only have that few bars and no more movement than that. I'd stay out of it. So this would have been your last entry, but only really 4 trades today. Five, actually, there's 5. There was a short early on. I'll explain that one. Um, but let's go ahead and go through the trades. And like I said, this will be short and sweet today. Um, Notice that we got a little trend working up here. We had a close outside, a move to a new high. There's a little trap right there. We've been away from the EMA for a long time. Uh, we didn't really have this trend line confirmed. So if this trend line had been confirmed, I'd probably say no short. But at this point, this was looking like it could easily be a range day. And so I like this for a failed break higher. This is congestion. It failed out the top. We're probably coming back to the EMA and probably coming back to test this line to see if it's legitimate or not as well. So I like that short. And this is a good excuse. This is a good example of why you wait on a lower high. Notice here that looked really good. We'd been away from the EMA a long time, but look what would have happened to you. It runs up, stops you out, and then it does it once again, and then you finally get a lower high. It's not really a lower high, but it's a double top, which is the same thing. You didn't make a new high, so it's a lower or equal high, which is a double top and a big bearish bar. So I like that one for a short. Again, if we'd already had this trend line confirmed, maybe not. But so then it pulls back to the trend line. I don't like this entry right here. Um, you got this little short-term trend line. There's no break of it yet or anything. But we did close outside here. We tried to go lower, and notice how it bounced off that line each time. And you got those matching highs. Once it broke above that, I liked entering. You could have let it break higher and maybe tried to limit order back where your original entry would have been above this bar, except that bar is too bearish. Um, this one was a little, I mean, this could easily be green, but the fact that it's off that key entry point is confirming that trend line, and it's the first time back to it in a long time. I felt pretty good about that one. And of course, you would have got your measured move here. I would have measured that one first, and we got to that before it corrected a little bit. But I also would have measured it from here. This thing is not cooperating with me. Here to here. And you see that's a perfect to the tick measured move right there. So I'd have been looking for it both ways, and you would have gotten one, and then when it headed to the next one, you would have had the full piece of it, the full low to high here, measured move. Um, it was tempting to enter here, but right into that matching high, it's not really a failed second entry short, even though it's 2 legs up with a hidden second entry there. I don't recommend that one. You might argue for it to be green, but I'm not even going to mark it. I think it's too dangerous. And then we get 2 legs back. Nice second entry long here. First break of the trend line. And this one was a little steep, so this is not to be unexpected that even though we might get a break, we might not get a reversal. So this is a nice second entry long with another little trap 1 tick below, and then it turns up. A little small bar, very low risk. And we make a new high. So we come back, but you don't know if you got a reversal yet or not. You don't want to be going short here yet either. But when it bounces right there and confirms that trend line, I like going long there. You had to kind of let it work out. It comes back yet again, um, and bounces. And so if you weren't already in, I like jumping in one more time or adding on here if you weren't out. But once you started going sideways here, I wouldn't have entered again. You might have considered it if this wasn't after the 2 o'clock hour. I would have marked this as a long. It is after 2 o'clock, but I would have marked that as a long if it wasn't after 2 o'clock. And you may have taken it anyway if you were still hanging around, because we're probably going to push up and make a new high, but it just kept going. And so you could, if you entered here or any of these, you'd still be um, probably. Well, I take that back. You probably would have got stopped out on this one. It would have come back and got the break-even stops. But if you did enter here, you could have ridden this all the way into the close. So yeah, not a lot of trades today. Pretty slow. I mean, it's like the holiday just extended into another day, and that's probably what did happen. But just not much happening today. But it was about an easy a day as you're going to get. It's all uphill. The trend lines are fairly easy to find. Um, yeah, I mean, there weren't a lot of trades, but it was a really easy day in my opinion. So not a lot of crazy fake outs or anything. As long as you were staying with the trend and weren't trying to pick tops, you shouldn't have had any problem today. Now, if you were trying to pick tops, you probably got burned the whole way up, and you probably lost money, and you probably had a big struggle today. But don't be trying to pick tops. Stay with the trend. So anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.